Hi, my astro viewers, my curious astro viewers. I'm Susie Cox, and this video is about the houses. So what are the houses? It's where the planets live. This is my house, this is where I live, and the planets need a house to live in too. Astrologers divided up the sky around the earth into 12 equal sections, and we named it first house, second house, third house, all the way around to the 12th house. The houses never move. The first house is always on the left-hand part of the chart. The fourth house is always at the bottom. The 10th house is always at the top. So that's something important to remember. And the houses relate to different areas in our life. The first house is the self. The second house is my money. The third house is my mind. And I'm going to be going through one by one. So if you remember the lyrics of The Age of Aquarius, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, hey, the houses are even famous. So let's get to know the houses. Now for the first house. So what are some key words for this house? It's about the self. It's about me. It's about how I see myself. It's about my identity. How do I identify with myself, and how does the world identify with me? It's about my manner, my mannerisms, how I move, how I look, how I smile, how I laugh. And it's my style. My style is pretty bright. Everybody's got a different style. And my image in the world. So what would the first house look like? Well, mirrors and beauty and let's see. Oh yes, this is all first house. Here's my mirror. And the first house has to be the house of selfies. Okay, that's the first house. Now for the second house. So what are some key words for this house? Money, my money. It's how I feel about my money. And my security. How secure do I feel in life? It's about my income. It's about how I make a living. And my values. What do I value as important? And my work. My work, what do I do for a living? And I'm going to also throw in gratitude. I think gratitude is a really good word for the second house. So what would the second house look like? Well, here's my purse, one of my wonderful purses that I have. I write for Tory Burch, a designer, and she gives me cool clothes. And so let's see what's in my purse. Purses belong to the second house. Shiny things. Nice shiny things belong to the second house. Well, this is kind of gold and pretty. And jewelry. I think jewelry belongs to this house too. That's fun. And wallet. Wallet for sure in the second house. And money. Can't forget about money. Money is definitely a second house thing. Money's good. So I think I'm going to take my purse and go. So that's the second house. Now for the third house. So what are some key words for this house? It's the house of the mind. It's how you learn. It's the house of education. It's also the house of short journeys. Road trip from here to California, that's the third house. And it's also your siblings, your brothers, your sisters, and it's the house of bright ideas. So what would the third house look like? I've got some quotes here about learning, and I want to read to you. I thought that would be a good third house activity. Being a student is easy. Learning requires actual work. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action, is using what you've learned. If you think education is expensive, try estimating the cost of ignorance. Education without application is just entertainment. Michelangelo said, "I am still learning." I bet you he is too. Education is not filling of the pot, but the lighting of the fire. I plan on lighting everybody's fire with doing this. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. That's why I'm doing experiential astrology for everybody, to involve you. Learning never exhausts the mind. Leonardo da Vinci. B.B. King said, the beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you. And I think my favorite one is, the more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. That's by Dr. Seuss. So keep on learning, and that's the third house. Now for the fourth house. So what are some keywords for this house? It's the house of the home. It's where you live. Everyone's getting to know my home through these videos. It's your family. It's your mom and dad. It's your heritage. It's really where you came from. It's also the house of real estate. Interestingly enough, the fourth house is right at the very bottom of the chart, so it talks about land. And it talks about your legacy, really about your heritage and your legacy. I'm going to be showing you some intimate pictures here from my family. This is my great aunt Catherine, who had a lot to do with raising me. She was the wisest woman I've ever met. And this is my great aunt Rosemary. They named her Babe. She was the baby of the family. She's the one that had her chart done in 1927 by Evangeline Adams, that incredible astrologer, and why I learned astrology as a young child. Thank you, Babe. So, that's my family. What is your family? That's the fourth house. Now for the fifth house. So what are some keywords for this house? Fun times. I've named it the house of fun times. Art, music, creativity, going out to theater with your friends. Children, playfulness, games. It's also the house of gambling, interestingly enough. Sports. Sports, that's part of the games. And it's the house of entertainment. So what would the fifth house look like? I'm a fire spinner. I can entertain and dance, so here's some entertainment for you. That's the fifth house. Now for the sixth house. So what are some key words for this house? It's the house of the body. Do you love your body? It's also the house of health and wellness, taking care of your body. It's the house of daily routines. So I get up in the morning, I take a nice long walk, I come back and have my tea, and I start my astrology day. So what are your daily routines? It's also the house of pets, taking care of our pets. So what would the sixth house look like? Well, I've got some vitamins here. So I've got turmeric. I think turmeric is good. Vitamin C is also good. Even though I live in the desert, I think vitamin D is healthy for you. And I love essential oils. I've got my diffuser here, and I fill up and use my essential oils every day. What are the ones I'm using right now? Clove. Cinnamon, yum. Pine, makes me feel like I'm up in the mountains with trees. And rosemary, a good healer. So, keep healthy, and that's the sixth house. Now for the seventh house. So what are some key words for this house? Relationships, that is the key word for the seventh house. Marriage and love, love partnerships. It's not just love partnerships, but it's also business partnerships too. It's our commitments. How do we commit ourselves to others? It's also our social skills. How do we get along with others? So, what would the seventh house look like? So this is what the seventh house looks like. I'd like to introduce my amazing producer and manager, Anya Lee. Hi, Anya.
Hey, Susie.
How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I just uploaded your YouTube video introducing the planets, and the book, Susie's Secrets, Decoding the Language of Astrology, is almost ready to be released.
Yay! I'm so excited. I couldn't have done it without you, dear. You've helped so much. We've worked together for over a decade and culminating in these videos and my book. How exciting is that?
Super exciting, but now I have to get back to work, so I'll catch you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Now for the eighth house. So what are some keywords for this house? Other people's money. Your boss, who you work for, where money comes from in the world. Personal investments, how you invest your money. Transformation. It's a house of deep transformation and sex, interestingly enough. It's also the house of inheritance. So what would the eighth house look like? If you notice back here, my wonderful desk I inherited from my great Aunt Catherine. And let's see what's in my desk. What do you know? Money. So I like to play with this money. Let's see. Ooh! That's the eighth house. Now for the ninth house. So what are some key words for this house? Well, it's the house of the higher mind. So wanting to expand your ideas. I call it searching for the meaning for life. It's the house of long journeys. So it's not just little road trips. No, it's across the pond. And college belongs into the ninth house. Once again, a hunger for learning. It's the house of philosophy, seeing the world in an existential kind of a way. And it's the house of publishing. I call it standing on your soapbox because you've got something that you want to share with the world. So, what's the ninth house look like? Well, I've decided to go with the publishing part of the ninth house. I published 5 books, and this was the first one. In 1992, the International Directory of Astrologers, names and addresses of astrologers from 57 countries. White pages are individual astrologers, look how fat it was. Yellow pages are businesses and software and schools, and it kind of pulled together the astrological world. Then in 1995, I published another version of it. Look how skinny this one was. And the first one, I realized that I put some memberships of some organizations, and people would email me. It was before email. They would write me a letter, oh my gosh, and say, I'm not a professional astrologer. So when I sent out the form, I had people say, yes, I'm a professional astrologer, date it and sign it. So this is really, and this also sold in 57 countries. Then in 2011, I wrote and had this published. Sterling published this, Barnes & Noble, Susie's Sun Signs. And it says, how to truly understand your lover, family, friends, pets have astrology too, and yourself using astrology. Nice colors, huh? It's my colors. Then, in 2014, I published Susie's Love Signs. It was a virtual book. I'm not going to do that again. There's nothing to hold on to, especially with love signs. This was the cover of it. So it showed, and you can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on Kindle. So it shows how you're compatible with all the different signs. Now, my announcement is, my 5th book is Susie's Secrets. And it's being printed this week. Very exciting. And this is the most important book that I will be writing, and it really is how to pull together your whole chart. So you can go to my website, susiecox.com, and get your free chart, and this will explain how to pull it together. So that's the 9th house. Now for the 10th house. So what are some key words for this house? It's the house of career. It's your occupation. It's how you're known in the world for what you're contributing to the world. It's also your public life. If you don't work or don't have a career, it's how you volunteer or how you contribute, being on the boards of advisors, whatever you're doing to help the world and the outside world. And it's a house of recognition. It's how you're being recognized for what you're contributing to the world. It's also the house of social class. Where do you fit in with the world? And the house of awards. That's part of the recognition. So what would the 10th house look like? Well, I'm an astrologer. That's all I do. I realized when I was 4 years old I was an astrologer. And here is a chart. And it's the chart of today. It's a little wild right now. We're kind of during this Capricorn party and grouping of planets. So this is what an astrology chart looks like. And as far as awards, I did get an award in India last year, and 2 women and 50 men. So it was kind of a nice experience. So, what is your occupation? Are you doing your life purpose? I hope so. That's the 10th house. Now for the 11th house. So what are some key words for this house? Well, it's the house of friends. It's really friends, groups, associations, and society. So it's the people house for sure. It's also hopes and good wishes. What a wonderful phrase, hopes and good wishes. It's your goals in life. What do I want to accomplish and what do I want to share with the world? It's a house of networking. That's part of connecting with friends and society. And cause-oriented, wanting to save the whales, wanting to help the world. It's a house of humanity. So what would the 11th house look like? Well, I'm going to go with what are my goals. My goal in life, I have a strong goal in life, is to make astrology positive, entertaining, and accessible. And I'm doing that through my books and also through these videos. So my hopes and good wishes are for people to understand astrology and be able to use it to empower and to feel empowered and uplifted. Empower and uplifted through astrology. That's my goals and hopes and good wishes. So that's the 11th house. Now for the 12th house. So what are some key words for this house? Well, it's the house of spirit. It's a spiritual house. It's going inside and reflecting. I call it your sanctuary. So it's like the safe place that you want to escape to. Napping, meditating, praying, being quiet inside, that's all the 12th house. It's a house of fantasy, fantasizing about what you want. And it's introspection. So it's being inside. So what would the 12th house look like? Well, the world is living in the 12th house right now. We're right in the middle of the coronavirus situation, and people are sequestered in their homes, businesses are closed, and everyone is being forced to go inside to go into our 12th house. Now, I'm using it to finish my book, Susie's Secrets, and to produce all these videos, to empower and uplift the world. Might as well, while I'm inside, might as well do something positive. So, that's the 12th house.
To see more of Susie, find her here on this channel, her webpage, susiecox.com, and on Facebook and Instagram at Susie Cox Astrology.